What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fourth Line Minutes, our 10th shift here today. And with me, as always, is Shaggy Von Doom himself, Mr. Kyle Sullivan. How are we doing today, sir?
Howdy, 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 everybody. What's going on?
And joining us in the third chair today, my Locked On brethren from the Locked On Lightning podcast and like a plethora of other things that this guy does with his life. Which includes collecting fine automobiles and fine chinas, and he has a wonderful collection of colognes, I believe. It's Mr. Adam Denker from the Locked On Lightning podcast. How are you today, my good friend?
What's up, Chris? Haven't spoken to you in a while. I feel
yeah, it's been like 10 minutes.
I know, seriously.
Yeah.
And Kyle, nice to meet you. Nice to finally get on the show.
Hey, great to have you.
Great to be on. I mean, this is the perfect combination of what we all like in life: hockey and just pop culture and
entertainment,
comics and
exactly.
entertainment.
Exactly.
I mean, if there was somehow we could just mold the two, I think that would even make for a better combination.
I mean, if they want, if you know, we could make the move over to the Locked On network and just be locked on everything would be the name of the show.
I still think that we should lock down that hockey Marvel crossover that we did on last week's show, where I said Zdeno Chara could easily play Groot.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Oh, that was
awesome. Which Groot? Would it be Baby Groot? Because he whines like a child sometimes on the ice.
No, because then you have to have Brad Marchand as Baby Groot, and then he.
Oh, dude, that you nailed it.
And you break his jaw and it just grows back.
Yeah. And I think Baby Groot is known to lick people. So it just it's perfectly
out.
for
it works out. And
yeah.
He's just an agitator.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So we are going to discuss Wanda, the latest I think the last two episodes, because they'll kind of meld together because we've been on a little bit of a hiatus. We'll talk about the Lake Tahoe games, and we will give everybody our own defensive pairings, as we're titling this. The 6 things that each one of us will fight to the death for, kind of like what has molded us throughout our lives, and then we will get to the simulation as well. And I almost feel like, because Kyle and I are Avalanche fans, and this simulation is like wackadoo sometimes, with the Avalanche playing not so well the past couple of games, maybe they have a shot at actually winning it this time.
We'll be the underdogs.
Yeah. So, all right. WandaVision, Adam, you are a fan. Also, we're all caught up, and this will be released on Thursday, on Friday. So it won't be including the most current episode, obviously, because we're recording this on Thursday night, but everything leading up to the one that is released today. Do we know how many episodes this is? Have they said it's going to be 10? Because I just feel like most of the shows on Disney Plus are 10.
I think it was 9, and there was like a theory that there might be a mystery 10th episode, but I think they're just going to stay with 9.
Because we just went to 7, right?
Yes, I think we have 2 left.
All right, because I heard somewhere like the last 3 episodes were going to be hour-long episodes, and that wasn't the case for episode number 7. So who knows?
Was I the only one that was left? Yes, we got some information about what is actually happening now in Westview or whatever town it actually is outside of the whole hexagon, but was anybody else left saying what the hell was that? Because I felt like as soon as the episode was starting to pick up some steam, it ended.
Yeah.
And it was, and maybe it's just me, maybe it's because those episodes in actuality are just so good that it just seems like they go by so quickly. But I feel like, and maybe the previous episode as well beforehand was the same way, where as soon as they give us the information that we really so desperately crave, it's over.
You're talking about the whole Agnes thing?
Yes, the whole Agnes
Okay.
thing. And I would have loved to have seen, at least in the post-credits thing, at least a little bit more of what exactly is going on. Yes, we have the comic material to look back on and what exactly Agnes's deal is with all this. But I just feel like there has to be at least maybe a bonus episode now that you bring it up, because I feel like 2 more episodes isn't going to unless they're just going to constantly cram the last 2 episodes.
Well, that's another question. Do we know that this is a 1 season show? Or...
I was under the impression that it was.
Okay.
I was as well.
All right. So we'll have some finality to what the heck is going on here. At least we should. Or you never know with Marvel. They might, keep this going in a next series somewhere. We got the date for the Loki show, which I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I think it's in like June sometime.
Yeah, June 11th, I think.
Yeah. So does this play somehow into that show? Who knows? So
I know WandaVision was going to be the show to start passing the baton to the new Doctor Strange movie, the new Spider-Man, setting up this multiverse. The Doctor Strange movie is going to explain why the multiverse is out of whack, why we got the X-Men, Quicksilver, and WandaVision. Spider-Man 3, that's a lot of the premise in Spider-Man 3 is the multiverse is out of whack.
Right.
If you looked at some of the teaser images they released today, Spider-Man, Peter Parker was where Doctor Strange is.
Yeah.
If you take notice of the background. So this is WandaVision's opening it up, and the movies are going to take it and run with it.
So we still haven't got, there's a couple episodes left. We still haven't, that I don't think we have got the big reveal that Elizabeth Olsen was talking about that was on par with Luke Skywalker and the Mandalorian. So we haven't got that yet. And I think that's the thing that I love, and on another level of like frustration with Marvel, is because you always think you have it figured out and then you don't. And as far as like Kyle and I were talking for weeks thinking the aerospace engineer was going to be Reed Richards. And it just turned out to be nothing. It turned out to be just people that worked for Sword who just have this machine that they brought. And and that's what they're good at doing, is dangling these little lines that people like us take and run with. And while we're focusing on that, they're doing stuff over here that surprises the hell out of us. So when that happened for me, like, it was frustration, because like you talk about it for so long and you think you have it figured out. And then for them, it just turned to be like, oh no, that was just nothing. But stay tuned, because we're really going to blow your mind. What do you think this is now? Like, who do you think this big reveal that she's talking about could be?
Well, I mean, just to piggyback off what you just said, I mean, it's an oversimplification of events, but yes, you're right. And just to quote my guy Jimmy Woo, who I think is my new favorite character now.
Awesome.
Oh, dude, I hope they come out with. I already think there is talk that they're coming out with his own show, his own spinoff, which I cannot wait for.
Which would be what? Him just like investigating?
It's supposed to, it's supposed to be like the weird occurrences or investigations.
It's Marvel X-Files.
X-Files. That's exactly what I was thinking.
So I think that's going to be a great show, but. Yeah, I feel like now there's always some sort of reasoning as to why Marvel drops things in the time frame in which they do. Are we thinking maybe now with the announcement of Spider-Man and what everything Kyle said with, Spider-Man kind of being out of whack with the universe out of whack and the multiverse out of whack, do we think that maybe the final episode of WandaVision is like whatever catastrophic event happens, that's what they just strictly pick it up from the opening credits of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, do you think that maybe we see Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch at the conclusion of this? I mean, Chris, we spoke about it in length on Locked On, how the endless possibilities of what could happen at, with everything that's going to happen in the next couple episodes. But are your predictions, and you, Kyle, as well, do we think that now that Agnes has finally revealed herself, do we think are your predictions completely changed now, or are you still sticking to your guns?
I've, like, to Chris's point, where the reveal was, you're saying it was just a sword agent. With everything that WandaVision has done to this point, and Adam, what you're talking about with the predictions, I'm not closing the door on anything yet, because this has one of those feels like they're building up to something at the end, and either the whole series is going to be flipped on its head, they might have another series in their back pocket. Like we just got done watching Mandalorian, and then the last scene was, oh yeah, we have a Boba Fett show, by the way, ta-da. Like, Marvel could do the exact same and say, well, if you enjoyed this, well, this is dropping in this window between the end of WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I'm not closing the door on anything in WandaVision until I watch the last scene of the last episode, and then I'll be convinced. I
just hope now, with they have the 20th Century Fox got, X-Men kind of thing in with Quicksilver. I don't mind that stuff. I just hope we don't bring Deadpool back from Wolverine. That's all I care about, because that was just brutal. That's the one well I do not want Disney tapping into.
And I know I'm totally in agreement with you there. But I was of the camp of not liking Ryan Reynolds doing what he did during the credits of the true to the comics Deadpool, and going back and killing that rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, dude, like, put it, and then the whole thing with like the Green Lantern, when he was like the green, or was it? Yeah, he was Green Lantern.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, dude, no, like, don't now, because you're a star, don't go back and say like, oh, these little roles that I did, like, I have to kill them off. No, screw yourself.
Well, there's always been talk, with now Zack Snyder fully being back in the driver's seat, that Reynolds is open to coming back and playing Green Lantern. So I think at the end of the day, I think he's just embarrassed at the production quality of what that was.
Like, everybody's got to go through embarrassing.
Yes, I get it. Own up to your work, but at the same time,
had to do when he was in the 80s. He did Joe versus the volcano. He's not going back and like blowing that thing up. You got to put your dues in.
I am a huge Green Lantern fan. Like, I have it tattooed on my arm. I dressed
really. I didn't know that.
For day one of that movie, I had the mask, I had the shirt, I had my ring. I was so excited. I walked out of that theater like I got kicked in the junk. So when Ryan Reynolds went back and killed Green Lantern, I was like, thank you.
No. Well, the only problem with that movie was the storyline. I mean, there could have, if you had Sinestro in there, I'm all for it. But that was the fact that you ended it on Parallax is just, that was a weak move.
It was a weird carrot to dangle all the way through the movie, and the CGI was just jarring. Just give Green Lantern a normal
sign
suit.
Of the times. Sign of the times.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about all the other superhero movies and how bad their CGI was, but I mean, just going back to the whole X-Men thing, what would have been a cool character, and I feel like they sort of, unless they find a way, because I think the one thing we can all agree on in comic books is that no one ever stays dead.
Right.
That a cool kind of character to kind of bring into this whole, all right, we're kind of reimagining, she's changing up reality, is Apocalypse. Ooh. If Wanda somehow maybe makes a deal with the devil, says find a way to bring back Vision for good, and Apocalypse is all right, but you got to be one of my 4 horsemen. That sets up at least 3 movies.
Yeah.
That is that's out there. I don't know. Well, first of all, Quicksilver was not in the most recent episode, but he was
at the end of the credits.
He was at the end of the post credits, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Said like Snoopy, whatever.
Yeah. All right. So, I don't know, man. Like, I'm still holding out. Like, if it's not Reed Richards, and I'm going off of what Elizabeth Olsen is saying, you know, Benedict Cumberbatch is not that's not going to be like this oh my god moment. Let's get real.
Right.
Like you need to do things like what they did with Quicksilver. So I am still waiting for it to be possibly Magneto. I think that would be awesome.
Is that really an oh my god moment for you now?
Regardless
of which actor they bust out, whether it's Ian McKellen or Michael Fassbender.
No, it would have to be Ian McKellen. In my opinion, it would have to be.
I think an oh my god moment for me is Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. I think that's the only way I'm falling out of my chair.
That would be cool. Or even what Kyle, you said it before with what's his name? Professor X. Yeah.
Patrick Stewart just rolling the door.
Yeah.
But it has to make sense. You can't just throw out.
Well, Magneto makes all the sense in the world.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying yes. I mean, because that is her father,
right?
I mean,
so and if it was him, that's just it's an oh my god moment for me because like Quicksilver was cool and getting the 20th Century Fox Quicksilver, yes. Now that just to me like dangles the carrot. Now you got to like hit the home run, and by doing that, you would bring in someone like Magneto, like a premier X-Men.
Well, yeah, when they brought Fox Quicksilver to the door, it skewed how I viewed the rest of the episodes because I'm like, they're setting up House of M, but like I gotta bring myself back because I'm like, they can't. There's no way they can.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been thinking this whole time. I've just been looking through that prism, looking for clues down that road, but we'll see.
Well, didn't they say they were doing Secret Wars too in the future?
Yeah, that is they haven't announced a date, but I think they're in the middle of writing the script for it. But I would have liked to have seen them maybe just to kind of call back to the earlier episodes when Sword was sort of starting to make its way into the picture. I would have liked to have seen maybe at least a little reference towards like, all right, we got to send someone in to handle this. And they bring back Frank Castle.
Oh,
and I'm talking about the Netflix Frank Castle. Yes. I'm not talking about the movie because that was one of the things I think we could all agree on. That was probably one of the biggest disappointments from this whole Marvel universe is that
the Punisher?
Oh, the Punisher being canceled off Netflix.
Oh, being canceled. I just thought you were talking about the
show. And just to kind of reintroduce him and reintroduce the characters and the actor who portrayed him off the top of my head, I could not think of.
Yeah, I don't remember.
John Berthal.
There you go.
Yes, yeah. to at least have him maybe consult about how they should at least make their way into maybe some sort of assault on Wanda. Yeah. Or something like that, or maybe Matthew Murdock comes back into the picture because I mean we are in Jersey, so Hell's Kitchen is not too far away.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to have seen something I'm not talking about a complete episode with these guys. I'm talking at least a reference and maybe a cameo or two, because I think really through this I think that would have dangled the carrot a lot more for me, as what we saw in Mandalorian. I mean, we saw cameos from people. We saw Ahsoka. We had Boba. We had little cameos and callbacks to the earlier movies, which I would have liked to have seen more in WandaVision as well.
Yeah, you get it here and there, but
but it's very subtle. Like,
it is.
For example, when they reference Sword, I'm familiar with Sword, but I'm not as well read as maybe you two were. So yeah, Chris had to kind of explain it to me a little bit at that point.
But like in this last one, like when he's in that food truck or whatever the hell it is, with the girl who got through, and she kind of just tells him like what happened at the end of like Infinity War and stuff like that. So you get stuff like that, but it's not like anything groundbreaking. Like it's all stuff we already know. So I don't know. I'm with Kyle. I think there's something here in the last few episodes that like the way he phrased it was good. Like all those things that we think could have happened could still happen. So give it a shot.
Well, guys, I need to know more. Like if you're Jon Favreau or you're the producer of this show, how are you introducing the character you want to come to life on the screen? So Kyle, I'm putting you on the spot right now. You have to write the last two episodes or just summarize to me. How are you thinking, especially with the character that you have in mind? How are you introducing this? Where's the show ending from here?
Okay, as evidence in the last episode, Wanda's losing control on everything,
Right.
and she doesn't know what to do. So in moments like that, where you're lost control and don't know what to do, who do you consult? Your father.
Daddy.
And she reaches out, doesn't know what to do, and he comes in, and they both, like, with them messing around with everything, that's what really upsets the multiverse. And the last 2 episodes are them working together, and Sword knows they're way out of their league here and start calling in additional help.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like you can only have so many people ringing the doorbell and then arriving at the front door. So I think like, with they will find a way to get in, and then there'll be like this big battle, and they have all their tanks and their trucks and everything. And then one by one, you just start seeing them all crumble.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is going on? And then ascending from the heavens, here comes Magneto, and boom, it's over.
I love that idea. I really do.
You can stop there. You don't have to continue.
I still need Michael Fassbender for it to kind of
yeah,
I mean, it would fluidity.
It would match with the Quicksilver they
exactly to have some sort of fluidity. Yeah,
right. I get it, but I'm just attached to it because those original X-Men are still.
No, of course. I mean, you can't go wrong with the original Magneto and Professor X. So
right. All right. We'll see. It'll be interesting. We'll have another recap next week for you. So, I mean, why don't we kind of continue in the realm of the entertainment world and Kyle had the idea of having like our 6 things, calling them defensive pairs of things that we take with us to our grave, or like the thing when people think about us, like the things that define us. So, and we're going to do this, you'll know ours, and they're subject to change. I think if we want to include other things, we can do that. And then for every guest we have, we're going to force them to do it. So Adam, you are guest numero uno that's going to be on the spot. So I'll have Kyle go first and kind of list his things that when people think of the Von Doom himself, what are they thinking of?
It's easy. These are the 6 things I will defend if it comes up in conversation. I'm right there defending it.
Okay.
Number 1 would be anything in the Batman franchise.
Okay.
Batman, 1000%.
Yeah.
The television show Twin Peaks.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Oh, cool. We got unlimited minutes, guys. That's cool.
All nighter, 4-5 minutes after dark. But yeah, we got Batman, we got Twin Peaks. Number 3 would be the 3 and 4 are going to be bands. Metallica and Pantera. I will defend them all day long.
I couldn't, for whatever reason. I'm a big metal guy. Could never get into Pantera. I have all the respect in the world for Dimebag Darrell, one of the greatest guitarists like ever. Just the sound, I don't know. It's like Rush. Like I just don't like Rush. I think Rush individually, phenomenal musicians. Just the sound that they come out with. Every once in a while they have a good song that I can, tap my toe to. But other than that, just the I would suggest listening to their music, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. And what does that mean?
Well, see, I play guitar. Like I got.
Oh no, I
got
will
Dime's
never
guitar behind me. So like,
okay,
I studied like his guitar style and like his inspirations and like what he tries to get out of his music. When you look at it from where it comes from, instead of looking at it on its face, there's a lot more you can appreciate from it.
Oh yeah, no, I get like I said, like I'm not one of those guys because I don't like them. I sit here and say like Pantera sucks. Like I don't do that. Like they're amazing. And the odd thing about that is when he was shot and killed, he played 2 days earlier in where I live in Clifton Park, New York. We had just come back from, I was on vacation, which oddly enough will be mentioned for my 6. We had just come back from vacation, and a buddy of mine was like, he was always forever, like whenever we planned the vacation, he was like, the day we got back, the show was that night.
Yeah.
And he was always going, and I'm like, I'll see how I feel. But and I knew I wasn't deep down. I knew I wasn't going to go. And we got home, and I was dead tired. And he went, and then I think they had a day off to travel, and then they played wherever they played, and that's where he. So he saw his second to last show ever.
Wow.
Yeah, he would have been with Damage Plan at the time.
That's what it was. Yeah, it wasn't Pantera. It was Damage Plan. Yeah.
Yeah, man,
So,
that's incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah,
So
that's
all right.
3 or 4. Metallica I've seen live. Pantera didn't get the chance, but
Metallica I respect.
Yeah, they played for
Metallica.
3 hours in Birmingham. It was their first time back in Birmingham,
Yeah.
Alabama in 30 years.
Wow.
So they played for 3 hours. It was incredible.
Let me get your take, because I have this like odd thing where like the albums that everybody hates, I tend to love. And Saint Anger is the same for me. I love that album, dude. I love because it's not polished. I love it.
It's my summertime album when it's like hot and humid here in Alabama. For some reason, that album just hits when it's hot and humid. It's just a good, uncomfortable album.
Yeah, and knowing like the whole backstory of it, how they were just like infighting like 10-year-old girls like during the making of that album, knowing that, listening to it, and just like the snare drum sounding like crap the entire album, I love it.
Yeah, and if you watch the Some Kind of Monster documentary behind it,
oh, it's so good.
Just like the fact that album even was put out is incredible. So
all right, cool. All right, so we still got one. What do we got so far? Because we're kind of,
we got 5 and 6, and they're both both video games.
Okay.
Elder Scrolls Skyrim,
love it,
and the Pokemon franchise.
Never got into Pokemon. I never did, dude. Even Pokemon Go, I did for like a hot second.
Still have my Game Boy Color.
What is that? What primitive technology is that?
I still have my Game Boy Color with Pokemon Gold still in it.
Yeah.
So
does that play 8-bit? Is that like does that hold CDs or
it takes AA batteries? Can't charge that bad boy up.
Now, what is did you like the Pokemon movie, that Pikachu movie that came out?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it.
I didn't even care. I honestly didn't watch this, like the story I zoned out on. It was just all the little references in the background.
All over the place.
That's what did it for me.
Yeah. I don't know. Were you into Pokemon? You said really? Like you're into Pokemon, Denker. Like
I was big on it. Like I was in 2nd grade at like the height of Pokemon. And then once we went above like 150, I was like, I'm done with this. I really don't want to catch them all.
Now, did you because you live near the city?
Yeah.
Did you get into the Pokemon Go craze? That must have been crazy down there.
Yes, but it was part of the circumstance I was in. So, and I'll explain that. So at the time Pokemon Go dropped, I was working at MLB.com, and I was working as a in-game highlight game manager. So basically making sure, to grab all the top plays from the game. So from time to time, games would go into, delays and all that nonsense with baseball. Sometimes you'd walk in, your game would be canceled for the night before you even got to sit down. So, and I worked in the Chelsea area near Union Square. So that was like prime Pokemon Go area. So it was just everybody I worked with the fact that I worked in Chelsea, I was kind of sucked into kind of the fad of Pokemon Go. And then, and every now and then, I'll like kind of just re-download the app, and I'll go hardcore for like 4 days. And then it'll just basically be like the part in Forrest Gump where like he stops running because he's tired. That's kind of how like I am with Pokemon Go, except I'll just delete the apps. Like, I'm gonna go home now, I'm tired.
Full beard and everything too.
Yeah, just full beard and everything. 20 missed calls from my girlfriend. Like I feel like I when it comes to that stuff, I mean, Pokemon, I was just like a purist. Like I like forever will be like the best movie is Mewtwo's like Revenge.
Oh, that's
so that
wait a minute. the best movie ever is
For
Pokemon movie.
Yeah.
Pokemon, no, for Pokemon. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Be ranking.
I
Move over,
Pokemon.
Citizen Kane. Here comes Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Yeah. No, like, I mean, we could get into a whole nother conversation about.
We don't need to, but just give me the Cliff Notes version.
For what this movie is about.
I don't even know if I care.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
I don't care.
If you were 8, you would have probably shed one tear in that movie.
Oh, I cried during that movie.
Oh.
That was like, that was like the right age. I was probably like around the 8 to 10 year old mark when that movie dropped. So
Mark it down, Kyle. Next week we're going to talk about movies that made us cry.
All right, done.
All
And
right.
we'll call them. We'll call Adam won't be here. We'll call them Adam's
All right.
tears. Movies that
Oh.
made us cry.
I mean, I'll just throw in one right now
Yeah.
even if I'm not going to be on.
Okay.
Castaway, the scene where Wilson
Oh.
goes away.
See, that didn't make me cry.
That was.
I think you're just dead inside.
No. I just the entire time I'm like, you're a volleyball dude. Like I was not.
I just
get
think it
it, like,
comes down to the fact that you live in upstate New York and you're just constantly cold. So
Yeah,
you better cope with the weather. You just like shut yourself off from all
I do.
emotion.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, man. Like I do like true crime like series and podcasts. I'm desensitized to a lot of this.
Yeah. What made you cry when they found out who the Zodiac was at the end of the movie?
In what movie are you talking about?
The Zodiac.
The Zodiac killer? Like,
Yes.
they didn't find out who Zodiac was. Nobody's ever found out who Zodiac was.
Well, I mean, I think basically it's the creepy guy in the movie. Everyone's in agreement now.
Yeah,
probably the Zodiac.
yeah, it could be him. You want to know what brought a tear to my eye? Was Endgame, dude.
Okay,
Endgame.
I'll give you that because I
Portals, man. The Portals was just like too much for me.
that was such an emotional movie. I think the only good part, the only part where I was actually genuinely happy, other than the ending, was when they did the flyover at Citi Field, and I was like, well, at least we don't have to suffer through the Mets anymore in the movie.
And another one was the Green Mile.
Oh, that's
Oh,
well, yeah. I mean, that's a
Terrible.
if you don't cry through that, then you
Yeah. You're dead inside like me, apparently.
Well, I mean, well, that's another conversation for another time.
Yeah. We can continue that next week. All right. So what you got all yours out, Kyle?
I got all my
recap them all in one thing uninterrupted. Go ahead.
Batman, Twin Peaks, Metallica, Pantera, Skyrim, Pokemon.
Okay. All right. I'm going now because Denker's still thinking it is. All right. So for me, clearly, well, I'm wearing the sweatshirt of it. So Star Wars was the thing for me, like as far back as I can remember. I got the VHSs and then it was all, I got them. I got them illegally, like from my grandmother, right? Grandma. So
this is why he doesn't cry, Adam. This is why he doesn't cry at all.
Grandma had like some dude that like knew somebody who like just recorded movies onto VHS. Like
grandma had a guy.
Grandma had a dealer pirating VHSs. So I got Star Wars. I didn't get the other two, and this was like the mid 80s, but the only one I got was A New Hope.
Yeah.
And then the other two movies I got with my order was a movie called Rad, which is totally freaking awesome. It's an 80s like BMX movie.
Okay.
Go and watch it. It is a freaking classic. And then there's a flip side of that movie called thrashin', which is a skateboarding movie.
I was going to say,
which stars Josh Brolin, a young Josh Brolin.
Really?
Whoa.
Dude, go. That was like the trilogy for me. It's freaking Star Wars, Rad, and Thrash.
So when like mini Chris went to school, he's like, everyone's like, what was your weekend plans? And you're just like, I just watched Thrash. That movie's awesome. and all your friends are just like, what is this kid talking about?
It was a space opera BMX skateboarding weekend. No.
Oh, I was about to say that does sound pretty cool.
I'm telling you, man. Rad is such a rad movie.
Yeah.
You know who's in it?
I'm literally looking it up when we're done.
It's so good. Lori Loughlin's in it.
Oh.
Young Lori Loughlin. Yes. Before she had kids and was trying to legally get them through college. It was a good time for her.
Simpler times for her.
Yeah.
Not too rad.
No. Yeah, but it's a great movie.
By the justice system.
So because there was this division of like skateboarding movies. It was like Thrashin' or Gleaming the Cube. Have you ever seen Gleaming the Cube or not? But that was like Christian Slater. Okay. I was in the Thrashin' category. So
there was like two schools of thought to the skateboard, like
yeah. Oh God, I want to go watch those movies. They're so good. They're so
like
good.
Twilight for skaters.
Probably, right?
Yeah, kind of. You could. Yeah. I don't know where Thrashin' is, but I know Rad is on Hulu.
No way.
Yes,
really. I might watch.
It just got added to Hulu.
Huh.
Solid. Go watch that. So, so Star Wars is definitely number one, and then clearly Marvel is number two. But more importantly, in Marvel, is Thanos. Like I've been a Thanos fan since the Infinity Gauntlet comics have come out. I bought all, and the only reason I remember the guy that was there. I would always steal my parents had a big change jar, and that's how I would pay for my comics. I would steal all the quarters from their massive change jar, and every time I would go in, the guy would call me Silver Surfer because I would pay with coins. So he was like, "Oh," he goes, "You bring any green today?" I was like, "Nope, it's coins are still from it." So he told me, he's like, "You're gonna want this one. It's like a new thing. It's huge." I'm like, "All right," so I bought that. Been a Thanos fan ever since. So when he came onto the scene, like in the movies, could not wait for him to get his time in the spotlight. It was everything that I ever wanted in seeing him like in live action. It was awesome. So Star Wars, Marvel, movie wise, I think, in my opinion, the greatest movie in cinema history is Shawshank Redemption. I don't think anything will ever beat that, in my opinion.
Hard to dispute.
I think it is the perfect movie. It's perfectly paced. The story is gut wrenching. You know, when you watch it for the first time as an adult, you probably figure out where it's going to go. Mm-hmm. But the first time I saw it, I was in high school, and I didn't know that escape scene was happening, and floored. I was absolutely floored by that. In my cold-hearted mind, I didn't think of it. So yeah, it's just whenever it's on, that's one of those movies, no matter when it's on, if there's a half hour left, you finish watching it. Doesn't matter.
Just to be clear, we got number one, stolen movies. Number two, stolen change. Number three, a prison movie.
Yes.
Okay, continue.
So we're on the right track.
I sense a theme.
Yeah. So we'll go video game next. And specifically Resident Evil 2.
Ooh. That's legit.
I think I've played through Resident Evil 2 more than any other game in my life.
Have you touched the remake?
Yes, but I didn't. It wasn't mine. Like it was at a buddy's house, and I just played a little bit of it. I don't even really remember it. But the second one was so good. I played the first one. I'll never forget the first time I played the first one. Absolutely loved it. And then when the second one came out, I was there the day of. I think I played through it in like a weekend, and then I got so good at it that I could just beat it in like one sitting.
That's awesome.
Absolutely love that game. I said that when I was coming home on vacation. So like, I don't know, maybe it's just a nostalgia thing for me. And well, yeah, Adam, you lived up here for a little while too, in the Pennsylvania area. Wildwood, New Jersey. Did you go to Wildwood at all, Denker?
Probably in my younger days.
Yeah.
Haven't so much recently.
That's why, like, it's so big. Like, I went there all the time as a kid, and then when you stop taking family vacations because you're too cool, you know, you have a cold heart. When you're like 14, you know, you just do your own thing. So it was like probably a solid 15, almost 20 years when I had not gone back down there. And then when my wife and I were dating, started going back there for vacations, and it's just like just to go back to a place that you had been to when you were a kid is just the best feeling in the world. So that's always like the place that I go to. And then music wise, my rock god, and there's none better, is Chris Cornell. So anything that guy did, Kyle, you said you had a tattoo of Green Lantern.
It's Batman, Green Lantern, Punisher with Deathstroke's mask. I drew it. And got somebody to tattoo it.
That's awesome. I have Chris Cornell's autograph tattooed on my armpit.
Whoa,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I got it. Sure. There we go. Well, it's upside down, but there it is right there. But it goes that way. Yeah.
Whoa.
So yeah, that's I love the guy. When he died, I think that's when it became cold-hearted, because like nothing in life mattered anymore because Chris Cornell was dead. That hit me hard, man.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. And I'll never forget it, because I woke up in the morning and I just grabbed my phone just to see what time it was. And I was like subconsciously, like, I'm like, I thought I saw Chris Cornell's name in my notifications. Why would I see that?
Right.
And then I opened my phone, and I can't tell you how many friends, because all my friends know that I'm like obsessed with the guy. I had like 5 text messages from people like, are you okay? Did you? And I'm like, what's going on? And my wife walks into our bedroom, and I have this look on my face. She's like, well, she's like, I knew somebody died. She goes, but I thought it was like a family member. And I'm like, it was.
Yeah.
It was Chris Cornell. He's greatest ever. Audio Slave. Soundgarden is amazing. The first Audio Slave album is, in my opinion, one of the best rock albums ever made. Absolutely amazing. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that up, but
you can't. So thanks for joining us.
Let's just jump on to something else. So I guess I'll start with video game first. And this kind of ties in with my love of Marvel. And maybe I'm dating myself here a little bit, as maybe one of the most influential video games I've ever played in my life. And this is a huge throwback, is Marvel Superheroes from 1995 on PlayStation 1.
I don't know if I know that one.
And
I don't think I do either.
It was one of the first video games my parents ever got me. I was about, I want to say 6 or 7 years old, and it was one of those fighter games where you pick they had 10 characters, and the end boss was Thanos, and there was no way in hell you could ever beat Thanos. I mean, and I'll never forget.
He was Mike Tyson, basically. Like
yeah, basically.
Tyson,
and the one character, and I definitely had like nightmares for probably a couple of years afterwards, was the way, if you look it up, how they drew Blackheart in the game. It's scary to a small child.
Really? I'm looking up images right now. So it's like a Tekken type.
It's like a Tekken type kind of thing. Okay. And basically, when you get to Thanos, he has all the Infinity Stones, and he's basically unbeatable, regardless of who you have.
What the hell is he doing in this picture?
And it's just, you have the Hulk, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Magneto, the Juggernaut, Iron Man, Elektra, Captain America. There's one character I can't tell off the top of my head who that is, and then Blackheart.
Ooh, is this how did they spin off in Marvel versus Capcom with this series?
Capcom came after this. Yes, I believe it was the immediate one.
I played Marvel versus Capcom 3 like to death.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if you could find footage of this on YouTube, I mean, yeah, it's a simple game, but the graphics for the time and just the gameplay was, it was addicting. It's one of those games where if they were going to remaster it for PS4 or PS5 or whatever system tomorrow, I would say, here's a blank check. Just write how much.
Dude, do you still own it?
I'm sure I have the actual game somewhere in a box.
Because it's going for some pretty good dollars on
I still do have my PlayStation 1.
Well, not the PlayStation 1, the game.
I know, but the actual game.
The game.
You cycle through the Infinity Stone?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's so cool.
And the best thing about that, and like basically like this kind of what catapulted me into like comic books, and my parents, and they had no idea like how big of like a storyline they brought me. But literally the first comic I remember that they got me was the Dark Phoenix Saga.
What?
Yeah. And this is when it was coming out in individual issues.
You have that?
I don't have it. I definitely tried. But I'll never forget the one panel where Jean is just floating above space, and she has like the Phoenix energy around her.
Yes.
And it's just the art. I'll never forget. I mean, I was 6-7 years old. I definitely did not read the panels. I just read it,
You're not doing
green
that.
and all that stuff. But it's one of those things where those two are interconnected. Music wise, and I thankfully I saw them in concert, and now they're coming out with a new album. They just came out with a new album, actually. AC/DC. I got the pleasure of watching that.
Oh, nice.
Back in 2016 during when they had that huge like 36 country tour where Brian Johnson ended up getting out of it because he had issues with his ears, and then Axl Rose came on as their lead singer. I got to see them, their second to last show. If they don't ever go on tour again, it will been their second to last show ever.
Oh, nice.
I've
heard they're done.
Apparently, like, so they just released Power Up like literally at the end of the year.
Well, when I say when they're done, I think touring.
Like touring, yeah. But and the funny thing is when they were doing the press for the album, Brian Johnson said he wants to go back on tour. So I don't know how that's gonna work, or maybe the hearing law, maybe he's gonna be wearing earplugs. I don't know what the issue is, but I kind of got to knock out two birds with one stone. I never got to see Guns N' Roses, and I have to say, having Axl Rose, it was almost as listening to Bon Scott perform. And a cool story about that, and I really, looking back on it, I really should have done it and taken the risk. So like I said earlier, I used to work in Chelsea with MLB.com, and one night I was religiously following AC/DC on like Twitter. I had the notifications up. This is back in the day, and there was a notification. Someone tweeted out, "Oh, they're at," I forgot the steakhouse, but it was this famous steakhouse right across the street from the office. And I was faced with the issue: should I just ditch work right now, go across the street, and bother Angus Young?
Yes,
and which I didn't. But I heard afterwards there was an article, I believe, in the Post, and they said like Axl Rose bought steak for everybody. They were partying, they were drinking, and it's funny because Axl Rose is the only one out of all those guys that drinks.
Yeah.
But going up to the concert, I mean, dude, like I could not hear for 3 days.
Yeah.
I saw them at the Garden. It was probably like one of the best concerts I will have ever gone to, and I will, and for the people, because there are people that say, you know, they just play the same power chords over and over again. Listen, name another band that has probably done more with power chords in the history of music than AC/DC has. Yes, their songs do overlap in style here and there, but still, I mean,
I would say the only other band that would do it, but they suck, is Kiss.
Yeah.
Now, can we let's settle this debate right now, because I feel like if Kiss didn't paint their faces and dress up, would we really be talking about them right now?
They would have been laughed out of the office.
Yeah. So I just, and there are people that are like diehard Kiss fans. I don't get it.
Adrian Dater is a
for real.
He's a huge Kiss fan, man. Like he'll post like he's I think they did like some New Year's Eve thing virtually, and it was like $200 a ticket, and he bought it. He's a Kiss, a Kiss Army.
I honestly think that Kiss Army, Kiss fans are more into being a Kiss fan than the Kiss band.
So you're saying like the pageantry is
It's just saying you're part of the Kiss Army and that camaraderie with the fans. I think that's what they appreciate more than the actual music.
I will die on the hill of Live at River Plate being the greatest live album ever recorded.
You are 100%. 100%.
And
you can play a mean Thunderstruck on Guitar Hero.
Now, where do you rank the AC/DC songs? What do you think is their best song ever?
You ready for this? This is now, I'm right there with you. I'm a huge AC/DC freak. My favorite AC/DC song is Nick of Time.
That's a good one. I feel like their least popular songs are probably the best ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a sign of a good band. I'll tell you this. I saw Slipknot 2 years ago now. And I always like to look up like the set list before I go. I probably shouldn't do that, but I do. And they played For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, like before they started.
Really?
And it wasn't just like you could just hear it in the background. It was full blast. It was like AC/DC was on the stage, and they would play the song in its entirety with the Slipknot banner just completely covering everything. And then as soon as it ended, that banner dropped and Slipknot came out. But everybody in the stadium was singing along to it.
That's awesome.
Even though they're there for a Slipknot concert,
right?
It just, you're singing For Those About to Rock. So I'm not saying that's like my favorite one, but it was just a cool moment. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I that's always cool when you see, and I always love to see how, because obviously their songs are always covered at concerts. I think one of the best ones I ever saw, and when Brian Johnson stepped away from the band and they were still trying to figure out who was going to take over, one of the big names floating around was Pink. And there's this famous recording of her on YouTube, Kyle, you've probably seen it, of her singing, I believe it was Highway to Hell before she came on stage. It was probably one of the best covers I've ever seen. And it was one of those things where you would never expect really AC/DC to go in that direction. And it would have been interesting to see how she would have been on tour with them. The other one was Bruce Springsteen, which I feel like would have been an easy one. As like a replacement.
It's always cool to see those do you know who one of the best Led Zeppelin cover bands is? Train.
Really?
They put an album out. They put out they put out Led Zeppelin 2 as that, like that's what they were before they became their own independent band. They were a Led Zeppelin cover band. They're phenomenal covering Led Zeppelin.
Whoa.
It's on any streaming thing. They released a studio cut Train cover album of Led Zeppelin 2.
Interesting.
Awesome.
Speaking of Led Zeppelin and covers, I think Hootie and the Blowfish has a really good cover of Hey, What Can I Do? That they released.
I have heard.
I think that's on there's like a that's the one I think that has Stone Temple Pilots on it. That does Dancing Days, which is a fantastic cover. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm gonna add that to my Spotify and listen to that at work tomorrow.
Thank you for bringing that up.
The Train one?
The Hootie
one.
I haven't heard that.
I'm a big Hootie fan. And the thing with that is that I am a huge Led Zeppelin fan too, and I never made the connection, even though I had both the songs from those separate bands in the same playlist at the same time.
Right.
It was just the style is so different to where it's, and obviously Darius Rucker's like cadences, the way he sings and stuff is so different to where you almost thought it was a Hootie and the Blowfish original.
They performed that. I went and saw them 2 years ago live. I saw Hootie live, and they performed that.
Oh, that's sick.
The Train was on Howard Stern a couple years ago, and I think when they were releasing that album, and they were playing some of the songs live in his studio, and he just asked the drummer flat out. He goes, "Can you do the drum solo in I think it was Moby Dick?" And the drummer's like, "Oh yeah," and he just nails it. Note for note, just nails it. It's crazy. So,
check that out.
I mean, I think probably my only go-to band other than AC/DC is probably Led Zeppelin. Like that, if I could only see one other band in concert live, it would be Led Zeppelin. But I guess. All
right, keep going. What do we got? We got.
I think the one other thing, I think I'm on my third.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm known, and this goes back from when I was a kid. I mean, I blame my father for this. Is I'm a huge Met fan, and I think I've spoken to Chris about this numerous times.
I blame your father for that too.
Yeah. My dad had weekend season tickets to when they were dirt cheap and anybody could get them. It was every Saturday home game, and ironically, my first baseball game ever was a Yankee game, but that was because my mother's a Yankee fan. She tried to turn me, and it never happened. But
at least someone's got their head on straight in that family.
And man, I was there for tons of big moments. I was there for Ventura's walk-off double grand slam. I was there when Pratt beat the Diamondbacks in the 99 NLDS. I was there when Jeter hit the leadoff home run in Game 3 in the World Series.
Oh, nice.
When Baha Men performed before the game, which
awesome.
I still like to this day. The thing was that like whenever I talk to my father about that, and we talk about how great those games were, especially when he had the package, was that I was like, you couldn't get tickets for Game 2 because NSYNC performed pregame in Game 2. So it was just like,
is Bahaman Whoop There It Is, or
no,
Who Let the Dogs
Out? Okay. I always get those phenomenal acts mixed up every once in a while. I apologize.
Well, I mean, Armando Benitez kept their memory alive until like 2008 when that was still his warm-up song. And then like one of the best moments that really like I'll never forget was, so when I was around 12, so this was like 2004, I used to had baseball games Saturday morning, and then we'd go to the afternoon Met game. I think it was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock games. And we're walking into the stadium, me and my parents, and it's Kids Day at Shea. And a woman comes up to me, random woman. Now, in today's world, my parents would have like swarmed around me, but obviously this was the early 2000s, and you know, times were different. And woman comes up to me and says, "Can you throw a baseball far?" I was like, you know, like 12-year-old me. I'm like, hell yeah. What are you joking? Like, come on.
Going over the mountains.
Come on.
Or
Come
a
on,
football
lady.
quarter
Come on.
mile.
You know who you're talking to? I'm a future podcaster. And nobody knows what that is yet. But we'll find out. So long story short, I threw out the first pitch at Kids Day.
Get out of here.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the best part is that I'm 12 years old and I'm almost taller than Joe McEwing, which is like the best thing. And mind you, I met Joe McEwing like 2 months prior to that. So like any other kid would have been like, wow, Joe McEwing. I'm like, it's Joe McEwing.
Yeah.
And no, it was great. I was so nervous. I walked out to the mound and
did you throw a strike, or did you like
I bounced
Carl Lewis
off,
it? Like
I bounced it off home plate.
Oh,
all right.
But one of the good parts about that I'll always remember was that, so obviously being a Met fan during that era, I grew up a huge Mike Piazza fan. And Piazza, this is when they were trying to transition him from catcher to first base, but he actually played catcher that game, but he was in the bullpen during during like when all that stuff was going on. So I wasn't able to throw to him, which was probably worked out in the long run because I probably wouldn't have been able to handle myself. But
or another way to look at it is you probably would have just been handling yourself because Mike Piazza's catching.
I like this side of you, Chris. You normally don't show this on Locked On for
Locked On's PG, bro.
But I actually, so I was behind like in the foul area where the dirt was, where the netting was behind home plate. Piazza was basically almost by home plate. And when I tell you not, I had no shame. I started creeping my way during the national anthem towards Mike Piazza to where it got to a point where I actually startled him in the middle of the song because he looked down and he just saw me there. It was
that's great.
Probably one of the creepiest things I've ever done, but it was worth it because I mean, let me tell you, Mike Piazza could have played friggin' hockey. He could have played hockey, could have played football. The guy was an absolute monster.
Yeah.
And ironically,
is he living in Italy now? I've heard.
Yeah, he lives in Italy. And he owns an Italian soccer team.
Really?
Which is even weirder. And
is he still married to the playmate or no?
Yes, the mother of his children. Yes. But and then I guess like moving on from that, kind of like, you know, it's funny that you brought up Italy. Another thing that I'll defend.
I brought up playmates too. I don't know if you have a favorite.
I don't know where I'm going with that. So Kim Kardashian's Playboy cover. No. So so one of the plot holes in the whole, one of the greatest movies that I've ever seen, franchises, is The Godfather. They should have killed Fredo off in the first one, just from like a logistical standpoint. Just because like Michael should have, if he was as smart as he really was, I mean, you would have seen your brother as a liability.
Yeah.
You got
no Godfather 2 then.
Real quick. What?
Then you have no Godfather 2 then.
I mean, you could make Godfather 2 without there was plenty of people around to betray him.
Yeah, there was.
So I mean that's just terrible, just mafia management on Michael's when you really come down to it. And
is that a thing? Is that
mafia management? Yeah, of course. It's like, I look at it as same as any NFL coach managing the last 2 minutes of a game.
Yes, a GM is so much similar to a Don.
Michael called 0 timeouts in Godfather 1 and then used them all up in the last 2 minutes of Godfather 2. And then that's why he died in Godfather 3, because he had nothing left to play with.
So he should be an NBA coach if he's using all his timeouts.
That is why his daughter ended up banging her cousin, because he had no timeouts left to call. But
he would be a coach for the Chicago Bears for 8 years.
Yeah.
God. They would have his statue up. And then I think I'm a big advocate for, in Star Wars, maybe the Sith had a point. Maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man.
Absolutely. No, I've thought about that many times.
I've seen every movie 100 times, and I still root for Palpatine to come home with the victory every single time.
No, I'm not a Palpatine fan, but like in like the Sith world in general, yeah, I think the way he went about it was I understand and kind of genius.
Yeah,
which makes him a dick, but they might be on to something there, and I think that's where Luke was heading. Luke wasn't headed toward the dark side, but he was in that gray matter zone for sure.
Well, we've seen it, and I know you've dove into the comics and the books, and Kyle, I'm not sure if you have as well, but I'm in the middle of reading Revan right now for the first time. And I mean, first of all, if they don't make a movie out of that, what are we doing? What's the whole point of making Star Wars movies now? But
High Republic, that's where we're focusing now.
The High Republic, yeah.
I haven't touched anything with High Republic. I mean, I'm sticking to Legends right now, because I read a couple of I've read certain plot points. I did read Master and Apprentice, and that was very good.
That was good.
It was slow at times, but the ending really got me into it, and I liked how it kind of they referenced it. Well, they made it so it was referenced in Revenge of the Sith, where he says, I hate flying, and now you find out why. But I mean, Revan is just a great character within itself. I mean, there's a ton of talk that people want Keanu Reeves to play him, which would be incredible. I don't know how reasonable that would be. I don't know if Keanu Reeves even wants to do that, but I think the Sith had such a great point. The way the Jedi, that was poor Jedi management on their point. Yoda has to be more spot on than that. Then you know what? You're not allowed to love anybody. You're not allowed to have any connections. Anything you feel or say doesn't mean anything. And then, yes, did Mace Windu go a crappy way? Yes, but he was being a dick. He was being a dick throughout that entire movie.
I mean, but Yoda's got a point. You're not supposed to love anybody, and then look what happens. We get terrible acting between Hayden Christensen and so yeah, I'm with Yoda.
It's because Yoda he saw the future and saw episode 2, and he's like, we really don't need to love anyone. I promise you.
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like I don't know. I'm not so much on the train of love and Palpatine. I just like the fact that the way they constructed things. Is it ideal? No, because of obviously current political issues that have happened in the last 4 years. But there is some sort of reasonable proof that you could say, if things were run a certain way with the way the Sith conduct themselves, yes, we could coexist to a certain extent. But telling someone to fully, hey, like that's if like Chris and I, when we got hired by Locked On, and they said you're not allowed to talk to anyone if you're going to do this job, but you get to have all this power. Or I just feel like we could make 9 movies of just about the Sith, and I think that they would be a lot bigger eventually than
there was, I mean, in like Star Wars canon and stuff like that, if you look at the timeline, when there was times where the Sith were in charge, and even not going back to like the 100 Years War and all that stuff, but like in the Star Wars saga when the Empire's in charge. Like, Galaxy seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like the fact that, like, I mean, Palpatine said it. They were at peace. They were at peace. I mean,
Yeah.
Granted, if you look at the Darth Vader comics, the way they were achieving peace wasn't exactly the ideal way of getting about it, but they got the job done. You know, that whole comic book storyline should be featured on like Dirty Jobs, where like the guy has to follow like Darth Vader around. He's trudging his way through all these alien. He's like, wow, you're awfully killing a lot of people, and it's like, well, you know what? Look at the results.
I might grow.
I'm agree. Speaking of that, the Bad Batch was I think that's coming out Star Wars Day. I think that's
May the 4th.
Star Wars Day.
I'm excited for that.
I'm more excited for like the Book of Boba Fett and Acolyte. I think Acolyte. we need more dark side content.
Yep.
So I agree with that. I don't know. I have never gotten into like Boba as much as everybody else has. I don't know why. I just don't think he's. Yeah, it's a cool character, but everybody's like loving the like he is a Star Wars legend, and I'm like, yeah, I get that, but I don't know. Just
it's as long as they do it right, I think it's going to be an interesting series.
I think it'll be an interesting series.
I mean, how many people really, when it was first announced that Wanda and Vision were going to have their own show, how many of us really thought it was going to be like? I think the general consensus is, well, I did. It's not. It's not like Captain America or Iron Man or one of the main guys, but if it's done correctly, it could work.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately they're probably gonna have to bring in some cameos if we're talking about I think they're gonna bring in Mace Windu at some point, because I saw something online the other day that he could still be alive at this point. So
I don't know, man, but they threw out Thrawn. And if you're throwing out Thrawn and do nothing, I hate you.
Well, he'll show up in Ahsoka 100%.
Well, he should, because that's who's looking for him.
Yeah.
But I want him in more than just that. You better bring him into the fold for like,
So you want more of a Thanos appearance type, where he's like pretty much almost in every movie. He's in the Galaxy. He's in Avengers. He was.
I want him in control of things because he's ruthless.
So kind of like that guy pulling the strings behind the shadowy figure pulling the strings in the background while like Boba Fett's doing this thing. Ahsoka's.
Well, it's tough because when that takes place is in between. It's after Return of the Jedi, right? Yeah. So Palpatine is still pulling strings at that point in time. So it's tough to have, but. Thrawn has had his run-ins with Palpatine for the books and stuff, so he just doesn't care, man. He doesn't care. He does what he wants to do, and he doesn't and basically he gets to a point where Palpatine just lets him do what he wants to do, because he trusts him. He knows he's ruthless and he'll get the job done. He should be an Italian Don. Thrawn. Man,
I don't hate it.
I think Fredo wouldn't have got past the wedding if Thrawn was involved.
If we're if we're comparing Star Wars to Godfather and we had to find parallels, I think the Fredo of Star Wars is director credit. I think especially when he's getting disciplined by Vader.
Like
Michael just slapping Fredo in the face at any given point in The Godfather.
Well, that's a good one.
But I mean, I don't know. It's interesting to see what they're gonna do. I mean, I'm not too familiar with Bad Batch. I assume it has to do with the clone troopers post Revenge of the Sith. If I'm not mistaken.
It's the guys. They were in the new season of
Clone Wars
that they made for Disney Plus.
See, I couldn't really get into that. There were certain arcs that were pretty good, and then there was like they would follow it up with like a droid episode, and it's just like
they always did that though throughout Clone Wars. They're like each story arc would be like a 3-episode story arc. And then they would have like a 2-episode story arc of it would literally be droids. It would be 3PO and R2, and you really didn't have to watch that, but they would do that all the time. And continue to do it in the last season. I didn't think they would, but whatever.
Well, hopefully they don't come out with like a droid like show to where we're just sitting there.
Aren't they though?
I think they are. I think they
yeah.
are.
Are they really?
Yeah.
The adventures of R2 and CP3O, like between like Revenge of the Sith and like.
Do you guys? I've shown Kyle what my license plate is. Have I shown you what my license plate is?
You have not.
I have one because somebody ran into my car in a parking lot, and it dented the license plate. And if you have personalized plates, like you get replacements for free.
Oh.
So I kept it. I was supposed to put it in the recycling bin, but I'm keeping it. So here's my license plate.
That is sick.
Right?
That is sick.
That is on my truck right now. And it resembles a New York license plate. It's got 3 characters, a space, and then 4 characters. So if you looked at that normally, you would just think that's like, regular license plate.
I saw a guy once driving. I don't even know where I was. I think I was in Cape Cod, and they had Order 66 on their license.
Ooh.
And I just remember thinking to myself, you do not want to like cut off this person. They will end you immediately.
That's awesome.
And then I guess like to move on to my last point,
but this is not going to turn on right now. So batteries are dead. This is Disney World.
When I went to Galaxy's Edge, we almost did it.
Oh my god, dude, you have to.
Next time we're doing it because
have to.
So right when I last time I went to Disney, Galaxy's Edge just opened.
Here's my guy that I made.
Hey. Oh, there we go. And basically we were gonna do so. The crazy thing about this is that I believe 2 or 3 days before we got there was when Disney posted that Hayden Christensen was in Galaxy's Edge with his daughter. And
really?
Yeah. And then that's when the whole meme started about like him looking at the lightsaber, and it was like, I got a bad feeling about this. And yeah, I think probably on top of meeting Mike Piazza, probably meeting Darth Vader was probably one of the highlights. I mean, I was actually ironically wearing a Powerline shirt, Kyle, when that happened.
There you go.
But I wanted to Rise of the Resistance because that opened.
Yeah, I went before that opened.
Yeah, and my girlfriend went with her mother for Christmas right before COVID. And the worst thing is that my girlfriend, I got her into Star Wars when we met, so like she used to think it was terrible, and now she's like the biggest Star Wars fan ever. I'm like, listen, you had no idea who these people were about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so don't get me started on that. And so like I've seen pictures and videos here and there. Oh my god, dude! Like Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, it looks crazy. Yeah. Yep. With that saber coming through the ceiling and just like cutting out like a hole, like oh my god,
unbelievable! I can't wait till because they got some other stuff opening up there too in Galaxy's Edge that they were working on. I think there's going to be like a sort of like a Rogue Squadron ride or something along those sorts.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, but yeah, and then I guess like my last thing that like I will defend to anyone that's never been here. Go to Falmouth, Massachusetts, especially in the fall or July, especially when they have the Falmouth Road Race.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a runner and you could run 8 miles in 96-degree plus weather. It won't feel like it because the race takes you through all the neighborhoods. People are spraying you with hoses, giving you drinks.
Oh, that's cool.
I've ran it about 4 times, and there's where the finish line is in Falmouth. There's actually a brick with my name on it that my uncle got for me and my dad. And no, yeah, it's just the town in general is great. My grandmother still lives there. Just do a weekend there between the weather, just the people there, nicest people. You have not lived until you've gone to Falmouth, Massachusetts. People are nice there where they will actually they will stop and wait for you to go. Like you won't get anywhere. You'll spend 20 minutes at a stop sign because you'll be like, no, after you, no, after you, no, after you. Everybody waves to you. My dad always talks about how whenever he goes back there, it's like it's almost a culture shock, especially when you're where I'm from.
It's not typical Massachusetts, hospitality.
And then to top that, especially summer nights, you got Cape Cod Baseball League there.
Yeah.
which I remember going to a game back in the day as a kid. Darren Erstad played for the Falmouth Commodores. I got to see him play, so that was a cool thing. But yeah, best place on earth, Falmouth, Massachusetts. I'm telling you right now. You got Martha's Vineyard right across the water too.
I'll stick with Wildwood and my 2.5 mile boardwalk. Thank you.
I think it might be. The people might be too friendly there for you. I feel like Chris is sort of morphing into.
Oh no, I would go there and just I could just touch them and the coldness in my veins. It'd be like that movie Fallen with Denzel Washington, where I just touch people and infect them with the devil.
It would be like if you were watching The Wizard of Oz in reverse, where everything goes from color to black and gray.
Do I have to play Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon in reverse if I do that too? Yeah.
Look out, mass. Here they come.
Yeah. Oh man. Are you simulating, Kyle? Are we good with the simulation?
I just finished the simulation.
I was gonna say you probably have done 10 simulations going through like Denker's 12 things that define him, but
whoa. Whoa.
All right. I am going to say because the Rangers are going through some hellish times with Panarin, I'll go Rangers, and because Denker's here. Because Denker's here, we'll throw the Rangers out there, and Edmonton. Who you got, Denker?
I'm gonna say it's time for a shift in teams in terms of some new teams are going to start winning their first championships. So I'm saying Vegas. I think they finally get the job done.
I don't think Vegas has ever been in a final in the. Okay, so that's a newbie. I like it.
And even though I've played EA numerous times and they just defy everything that reality tells you.
Okay.
I'm going to go with logic. I'm going to say Winnipeg because they have good goaltending.
All right.
Although that couldn't happen, but we'll go with it.
As I said, as I was telling Chris before I hit
me down at everything. If this was a presidential debate, I would never get a word in with you.
I'd be Trump, is what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
As I was telling Chris before I hit the record button, they gave a new roster update yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And running this simulation that I've done 100,000 times. Representing the West, we have the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, yes.
Representing the East, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Was this the finals that we won it last year?
Are you kidding me? Is this rigged somehow?
I swear, when I saw it, like when I saw the bracket going through, I was like, "There's no way." And
that is
sure enough,
incredible. Who Tampa Bay got it
in 5 games. The Colorado Avalanche are your Stanley Cup champions.
Oh, Denker, we got to have you back every week, but man.
But I will come on whenever. This has been a blast.
This is incredible.
Especially I get to see the many sides of Christmas Philly outside. Oh my goodness.
My God, that is incredible.
I was watching it while Adam was going through his. I just kept looking up, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is going to happen."
Is that why? Because I glanced at you at one point, and it looked like something was about to attack you.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was like, "There's no way we're going to have Locked On Avalanche host and Locked On Lightning." And then
Kyle had a look on his face where I thought like he was watching something unfold in front of his eyes that he couldn't believe, and I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, holy crap!
Yeah, right behind the camera, I have the TV with the PlayStation hooked up and stuff.
How freaking poetic.
Man,
how poetic is that?
Now, as to the nature of this series, do you have the scores in front of you? I'm curious.
I don't have the scores. I could go back and it gives like the awards, but it doesn't.
Nathan McKinnon definitely won the Conn Smythe.
Let's see. Art Ross, Leon Draisaitl, the Hart, Leon Draisaitl, Norris, Carlson from Washington. Here we go. Lady Bing, Kucherov. The Calder.
Bo Byron, baby.
Lafreniere. Conn Smythe. Philip Grubauer.
That was my second choice. There you go.
Right. Okay.
The Vezina goes to Carey Price. Vasilevsky gets the Jennings. Edmondson gets the Masterson. The Selke goes to Ryan O'Reilly. It seems like every week he gets the anyway. And
Did you say Jack Adams? Did you say?
yeah, no, the Frank Selke goes to Ryan O'Reilly.
But did you say Jack Adams? Though,
no, they don't have the Jack Adams.
They don't even do Jack. Yeah,
they don't have the
coaches. Don't
names.
matter.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, nobody cares about coaches. Wow, man. I mean, what a bow.
That couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah, it was perfect. Well, it could have for you to have Tampa Bay win it, but you know, I get what you're saying.
Where were you when we had the Winnipeg Buffalo finals?
I know. That was brutal. That'll never happen.
Yes.
I would go to betonline.ag and say that a Winnipeg Buffalo final will never happen.
Oh my God. I will bet you 3 Built Bars.
And I have 3 Built Bars. Did you get the crispy ones in the mail?
Dude, I have one right here.
Hey,
for like half the podcast.
You've been waiting to chow down on that. All right, let's end this so Adam can get some sustenance in him. He's been working like a madman.
Dude,
so all right, well, that is going to wrap it up today. This was the longest show we've had so far. I don't know what time we started. I think it was 8 o'clock in the morning that we started, but
I think it was longer than the Lake Tahoe game had.
It rivals that. You're right. We had the same amount of pause as the Avalanche Vegas nights. Yeah, all right, good stuff. We're doing the Taro next week, probably sometime. We got to update that. Still not looking good for our boy. So he's going to be out of the league very soon. And then we'll move on to Happy Gilmore, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. We got ideas for season 2 of that series. So
yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Adam, thank you again. Yeah, man. If you want to join next week, you're more than welcome.
Guys, listen.
All
right. I'm down for anytime you guys want to bring me on. Talk about hockey, talk about some pop culture, have Chris just crap on me for the entirety of an hour and a half, probably. I like this side of you. It's dangerous.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. Just don't tell David Locke, because
no, this will be our dirty little secret. Nobody on the internet will find out about it.
Nope.
Nobody. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
All right.